Okay, I will be talking about the intertextual elements of design. Now, when an author or a writer produces a document, it's not only the content what's important, but how the content is projected or how the audience is going to look at it. So the author can effectively manage the design elements just to make some part of the text important and make the audience focus on a specific part of the document. For example, in this document from the 1200s, which is written in Latin, and you could refer to it in your handouts, you could see that the first letter of the text is capitalized and is bolded, which would draw your attention to the first line of the text. Now, let me explain to you that a drop cap is the first letter of the text that is magnified or is capitalized just to draw your attention to it. And you could probably remember seeing this in magazines or newspapers where the first letter of the text is magnified. So what we understand by intertextual elements are elements that establish cohesion or similarity all along the documents, and not only in between each line. We call these elements such as list, spacing between paragraphs, and spacing between each line in between the paragraph. Now, the use of shading and color of the font, if it used in the same fashion all the way along the document, it is also considered an intertextual element. In this picture, we have a speech published in the 1700s, and if we look for the line length and the spacing, we see that it's pretty consistent throughout the document. We see that the space between each paragraph is the same, and the space between each line is also constant. This is a printed document from the 1700s, and of course, this kind of spacing between paragraphs and this consistency throughout it, it shows that it's a well-formatted document and it delivers a sense of order, which was probably the purpose of the author when we formatted this document. Now, in this case, the same document, we could see that the words speech and Scotland are spaced in a different way from the rest of the document, and that's because these two words are they refer to the subject of the document. So that's why they are intended to draw your eye to those two words, which are speech and Scotland. And it's probably when you read those two, you can imagine that the rest of the document that's gonna go about that subject. Also, another thing to note is that this text is justified to the left and to the right, and that's a characteristic that we find on the both pages that we're looking at. Now, in this case, this is a document that was published online in 2003, and it shows many similarities with the one we saw before. In this case, the line spacing between paragraphs is constant, and then again we have a smaller space than the one before, but in here in the header we can see that it stands out from the rest of the text because of the color and also because of the spaces that surrounds it. In this one, which is a British legal document from the 1200s, we see that the line spacing is constant throughout the document, and also that the document is justified to the left and to the right, which would make us think that this author or scribe, who produced this document, was trying to get a document that was ordered and that was consistent. But in fact, the reason for this formatting is that this document was not produced on regular paper, but on vellum, which is a lambskin used on those dates, and it was really expensive material. So all the scribes try to put each word really close to each other so they could save on material, and therefore